Hello ladies and gents, boys and girls, and welcome back to another Cup of TCG video. My name is Kyle, joining me is the lovely Ryan, and we are here to run you through an upgrade path for Pleiades, the most recent Guardian edition and our most recent Armory deck, which is soon to hit official store shelves in the next couple of days. A lot of you might have already got your grippers on them at your local pre-releases where you got to experience the set before the official release date, which is of course on the 26th, hopefully the time this video comes out. So Ryan, this is a very new deck. We've only had one other Guardian Armory deck before, and that was Jarl, which was slightly different, introducing a brand new hero. From a high level, is this Armory deck worth buying?
Okay, I think yes.
Oh.
Simply put, I think so. I think this deck is really cool. I think it's really strong as it comes out of the gates. Firstly, I think the reprint value is good. I think the armor is good. I think if you want to learn how to play Guardian, you know, of days of old, then there's plenty of videos, plenty of like deck lists out for like Bravo, or, you know, Jarl, for example. However, this is a brand new hero.
This is the new hotness.
Brand new. Yeah, exactly. She's the rock star of the game, right? She plays in a completely different way that we mentioned in our pre-release primer, and I've been playing her a little bit, and I've started to really learn some play lines that are just completely different to, you know, your normal Guardian play style. So I think overall you should pick this one up.
Nice. Yeah, really interesting. She plays with Instance of all things. So we're getting to that in a few brief moments. But before further ado, let's explain to you and show you what you actually get inside of the Armory deck. Oh, hello. Kyle here from the future. Sorry for the jump scare. 80% of you are not subscribed, and we are on the push for 1,000 subscribers. When we do it, we've got something fun planned. So if you're not subscribed, check down below, comment, like, subscribe, all of those things. Back to the deck tech. Ryan, you mentioned the equipment. It's at the top of our screen. It only makes sense that this is the first thing we talk about. Tell us a little bit about attention grabbers, our arm piece here. Just Guardian, this one.
Yeah, just the Guardian arms here. In fact, actually, Rathe players have been using these as well because
Flavor
so
fail.
Yeah. So these are basically just a cool way to accelerate your aura game plan. If you've already activated Pleiades once to remove a counter, well, if you block with these arms, you can also remove another counter or another aura. So perhaps on your turn, you can have two of these big red auras pop at the same time and do an insane amount of damage. And then they also would block for free if you do so as well. So they're pretty good for, you know, out-the-box arms.
Yeah, 3 block with an upside. I think we take those every day of the week, right? Boots to the boards. Quite an interesting one here. First revered piece of equipment that we're seeing. Of course, she is the revered Guardian of this set. When it's defends, you may pay up to 3 resources, create that many toughness tokens. It's got temper 2, so this seems like a straight upgrade from historic Guardian legs.
Yeah, people might be aware of civic steps. We all in the Guardian world are, you know, friends of civic steps, but also don't like civic steps. Basically, this is civic steps, but without a downside. In fact, it has only upsides because making toughness tokens doesn't happen a lot in this deck. But these are basically the primo way to do so, and when you do, you essentially get, you know, 3 other block out of another card that you would already be blocking with on the next turn cycle, and you get to do this twice.
Yeah,
you get to make 3 toughness tokens twice, and then block for 3 with these boots. Like, they're insane.
Pretty good, pretty good. I'm here for them, notably because they're revered as well. We mentioned about Life being able to run attention grabbers. Tough Nut, you can run boots to the board if you really want to, but again, flavor fail. Keep these one in Pleiades. We'll touch on Moment Maker in a moment, her weapon, but let's look at Tiara of Suspense first.
Yeah, Tiara of Suspense is an interesting one. Not many instant hats going around in the Guardian pool. And its effect is pretty strong, being able to put a suspense counter on an aura. The thing is your hero ability does this already, and putting on counters onto auras, sometimes you don't want to do that if it's a red aura. In fact, you'd rather save it for a blue aura. So if you've got blue auras out, you can block with these in the damage step, or when damage is resolved, you can pop them, put another counter on the blue aura. You know, it's cool, it's cute, it's nothing groundbreaking in my opinion.
Virtuoso Bodice. This is a Blade Break 2 chess piece.
Yep. So this card I think exists purely for the combo of you block with this, you gain 2 resources, and then you can flash in a 2-cost aura,
Nice.
like tension in the air. Which is a cool play to do with blocking with your chess piece. There are also niche relevance where you could block with these, gain 2 resources, and pay into another costed aura like Act of Glory or Edge of the Seats or something. Again, cool. They block 2 with Blade Break. That's cool too. Nothing crazy. These are definitely the weaker slots in this Armory deck, but 2 block armor is still pretty damn good. So it's not so bad.
No, this does seem to be a little bit of a theme, right? Like, they do enough for the cards that are inside of the Armory deck, but when we're looking to upgrade them, these are probably the first pieces that go. Aurora had some, Ira had some as well, so pretty standard when it comes down to the Armory deck, but still interesting to see. We glazed over it slightly, but Moment Maker, the hammer axe, because of course, your weapon, 3-costed, once per turn action. 3 for 4 doesn't seem great, but if you control 3 or more auras of suspense, this gets +2. When this hits a hero, the crowd cheers you. So a 3 for 6 with an upside if you are kind of already ahead in the game. Seems okay.
One thing to notice about Moment Maker actually is there aren't many hammers in Guardian that come in for 4 that have no downside. For example, like Titan's Fist it comes in for 4, but it's conditional. Redwood Hammer, again, conditional.
Miller's Grindstone is semi-conditional as well, right? Like its attack can go down if you lose those clashes. So
exactly. So this is one of the few weapons in the game in the Guardian card pool, like Winter's Wail, for example, that are always going to be 4 no matter what, which is actually quite strong when you think about it, and it can conditionally be for 6, which is pretty good too. So this is not a bad weapon. In fact, it's pretty damn cool for her signature weapon, actually.
For sure. Nice. So we've touched on the equipment, we've touched on the weapon. Of course, Pleiades herself, you get her in the Armory deck. But you also do get a number of reprints inside of this deck, along with some cards that see their first printing, and sometimes their only printing in this deck as well. First things first, Ryan, let's talk about an old but gold, one of my most hated cards, and we'll get onto my most hated card in Fab, which is also in this deck, but we're talking about Spinal Crush.
Yeah, seeing 2 of these in the Armory deck, I was like, wow, that's actually really, really cool, because, this is a classic card. Every Guardian wants 3 of these cards, and they put it in their deck no matter what Guardian they're playing, pretty much. It's just such a strong effect. And with these auras that you can buff this Spinal Crush up to silly numbers, why wouldn't you want to play this card? So yeah, insane.
Yeah, more than 9, eh? That's fun.
Yeah.
Really
Comment
interesting.
down below if you know what card Carl's talking about, by the way. It's going to come up.
Oh well, you've only got a couple of brief moments, I think, because I think we're moving on to that card while we're on the reprint territory. Tear Asunder.
As far as reprints go, this is an absolute banger.
Yeah,
because this card is insane, and as Carl knows, Tear Asunder is playable again. I've been playing Victor for the longest time, so I've actually been playing Tear Asunder in a long time. So
I know it was great.
Yeah, I've been playing with it again recently because of this, and man, I forgot how good this card is. The one thing I will say about this card is it is insane to have, but if you can staple it to a boulder drop, happy days. But that's about it. You can put it on a fault line, sure, but again, that's about it. You can't putting on a Spinal Crush is tough. You need some vigor tokens, or you need to have a lot of blues in your hand. It's actually, it's quite high costed, and you've got not many quote unquote Guardian attacks to land this on. Like Comeback Kid is a revered card. Uplifting Performance is, I'm pretty sure that's a revered card as well.
Okay.
Oh no, it's a revered Guardian card, so you can put it on that too. But I mean, putting this on a Standing Ovation, that's going to be tough. And Macho Grande as well, that's going to be tough too. So this is a really good card to learn some stuff with, but keep this in mind that we'll be changing some of these red cards out, I think, going forward to have more targets for this card, because it's so insane. Notably
as well, this says Guardian Attack, so this does work on your Moment Maker if you so wish to swing it that way. Nice. So I think that's all the reprints, with the exception, I suppose, to Boulder Drop, which is a reprint, but not in red. This is the first time we're seeing this card, right?
Yeah, so when this card was announced in the Armory deck, that's what sold me on this Armory deck, like instantly.
A rare! Oh my
yeah.
gosh!
Mate, we've been wanting red Boulder Drop since day 0. When they
Yeah.
printed the blue version and the yellow versions, we were like, this card's insane. And, I played the blue version a few times in various decks. But man, we always were like, damn, a red one would go crazy. Because there are so many Guardian Crush cards that can be like sidestepped by people.
Yeah.
Maybe your class doesn't do attack actions, so Chokeslam doesn't do anything, or maybe you are a wizard, so Debilitate doesn't do anything.
Yeah.
Or Spinal Crush,
You're only going to do one thing a turn anyway.
Yeah, or you're doing that. So it's like frustrating when you've got no Guardian card that actually does everything.
Yeah.
And this is it. Red Boulder Drop, no matter what, you've got cards in your hand, right?
Yeah.
Imagine I attack you, and now you've got to put one of those cards back on top of your deck. That's frustrating, and that's what you want to staple your Terrace under and your Auras to.
Nice.
So yeah, this card is what sold me on this Armory deck, and is like my favorite card to play. So
Awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, red Boulder Drop works if you're playing a card game. You are playing Flesh and Blood, so this one, it works.
Exactly.
Let's talk about some of the other new cards as well. Standing Ovation, getting its only printing inside of this Armory deck as well. Stapled her directly to the yard. Sorry, you can get this inside of gem packs as well, but if you want to get all three, you don't want to have to wait week after week after week for your local armory to get those gem packs in. So yeah, absolutely. So yeah, Standing Ovation. What can you tell us about this?
So if you read this card, it actually kind of reads like a Magic the Gathering card.
Whoa, whoa.
Whoa. I mean, the effect is insane, all right?
Yeah.
Like, if you put it on paper, I get to have another turn, and you don't. You skip your turn completely.
Yeah.
That's insane for an on hit. The thing is with this card, there's that stipulation at the top part, right? If 3 or more auras of suspense have left the arena this turn, I've been playing this deck a few times now, and getting that ability to trigger does happen. Don't get me wrong, but getting it to happen whilst having a Standing Ovation in your hand or arsenal and having 2 blues to support it, and also your opponent attacking you potentially.
Yeah, it's really interesting, right? This feels like, at least from an outside perspective, that if you're able to trigger this, you've probably won the game, because you've had 3 auras of suspense leave this turn. 9 times out of 10, that means that this is going to be going to the absolute moon when it comes in for damage, instead of it just being 8. So you're coming in for a lot. Usually you're not able to block it, and then you're able to just be like, well, actually, you don't get to return anything. Yes, you get to draw up your hand, but I'm just going to send this back at you. Really interesting that we've got another, we've got our first take an extra turn card in Fab, potentially some future proofing there for some interesting design space. So yeah, quite a cool card.
What's cool with this card too is if you give this card to any other Guardian in the game, okay, they guarantee will not be able to convert that next turn. Like every single time. Like give it to like Victor, he'll draw 2 block cards. You give it to Jarl, he'll draw a bunch of like Earth cards that don't do anything. You know what I mean? So giving this to the Guardian that can play on your turn or can play instant speeds, auras, or just play an aura because, okay, you skipped your turn, I drew 4 cards. There's 2 auras, but hey, 2 auras is still really good. Yeah. That's why this card is included, I think. Thespian
Charm. This is one of the charms which you only get one of in this, but of course a super from the Super Slam set. Any major thoughts on this one, Ryan? Or
yeah, this card's cool. It's cute. It doesn't do a lot into every matchup. There are some matchups where you can flicker some auras and get like 2 tries of playing them. And also getting to like cheer, like getting a crowd to cheer you on demand sometimes comes in clutch with like the equipment we mentioned, and also like I need to hit you with a on hit next turn, I want to make a confidence token. Sometimes that comes up too. So yeah, this card's cool.
Speaking about one-offs, we have up on a pedestal another art that includes the woman herself, Pleiades. 0 cost aura here, seems pretty decent, bit of recursion as well. I don't see a real downside of it blocking too.
This one's interesting because what you can actually do is you do a really cool setup turn. A bit like when you block with your cards in like a lightning deck and you somersault them. You can block really effectively with knowing you've got this card, like in your arsenal, for example. So I'm happy to block with a Spinal Crush and something more powerful in my hand if I know I've got up on the pedestal, because I can just flash it in, put it on top of my deck, and then now I'm going to draw that, and then when I've just played some auras that are going to pump my next attack, I can play up on a pedestal, put a Spinal Crush back on my deck, and then you know what I'm going to hit you with, but you can't stop it.
Yeah, it feels a bit like a. I know that Azalea did it in a very different way, but Memorial Ground. Being able to recurse cards back, and so you aren't just having 3 of them in your deck. You've got a number of them. Seems quite cool. And the fact you get double triggers here as well. You get an on enter and an on leave. I like this. Shame there's only one, but I feel like that's going to change in a few moments. Superstar. Is this limited just to this product?
Yep. That's right. Yeah, and this card's actually really cool because it costs 1, which is interesting. Normally these blue auras cost 0, but they block for 2. It's one of my favorite blue auras, other than What Happens Next, which we'll talk about later.
Yeah.
But this one actually combos well with What Happens Next because it's a 1 cost, but it's basically just an on-demand confidence token. Perhaps Arsenal, a red card, a boulder drop, a Spinal Crush, play a red aura, and then play Superstar. Tap Pleiades to put a counter from Superstar, a red counter onto Superstar, so you can keep that for another turn, but you have an aura outlet, and then you've made a confidence token. This is a really cool turn cycle you can do with Superstar.
We won't go too in detail with them. We'll let you kind of look at those at your own leisure, but we do get a full playset of our auras of suspense that we're looking for, your active glories, both in red and blue, your edge of their seats in red and blue, and your tension in the air as well. These are all your pumping instant auras. All of them blocking 3, all of them costing a little bit different, 2, 3, and 4 respectively, and pumping for 4, 5, and 6. So these are going to be kind of your bread and butter when it comes down to, what instant auras should I play for me to be able to buff up my attacks across the next couple of turns.
There's just 2 more cards I'd like to highlight that I think make another reason why buying this armory deck, in my eyes, is worth it. Although they come in the set, they come in Super Slam, you can pull them. Having just 3 of
just getting them straight away.
It's really cool, and that's this card, Turning Point.
Yep.
Turning Point has really impressed me in playtesting because not only is it a blue, that's really good. It blocks for 5 sometimes, and when it does, it makes a confidence token for you because it cheers you, right? So strong. I love this card.
It's really cool, and this combos quite well with Tiara Suspense, right? Like you can block with this and your Turning Point to block 7 on a single attack, and then not only can you do that, you've just been cheered, you can then crack the Tiara at the end of the turn to be able to put one of those counters on as well to keep it around. So nice little combos, nice little synergies. What was the second card you want to talk about, Ryan?
What Happens Next? This is another blue aura. Yep. So we mentioned it in our pre-release primer about like Pleiades' game plan about removing counters and putting counters on auras. This is like target number 1 in the deck. The more you play this deck, the more that this card will impress you. And it blocking 2 is like completely valid because this card's insane. When you get to have this card stick for 4, 5, 6 turns sometimes, you can like just reap reward so easily because all your Spinal Crushes cost 4 now, your Body Drops cost 2, all your auras cost 1 less, which sometimes comes in like in a lot of hands.
Just helps out.
Comes in handy. Yeah, because Active Glory costs 4, right? What if it costs 3? It costs 1 card.
What if it's a blue now instead of a blue plus a red?
Yeah, right. And I don't know, like I think this card really performs really well, and I'm really impressed with it. But to be honest, it really impresses me when we get to the next tier.
Right, well, you've alluded to it, Ryan. You've talked about our next tier. So you've bought out the Armory deck. Potentially, you've sleeved it straight up and gone straight into your local Armory. But you put a little bit of money aside. You put £50 aside, or your regional equivalent, and think, you know what? I'm going to give this deck a little bit of extra love. And that takes us to our Armory tier upgrade tier. Put £50 in. You get quite a chunk of cards. Let's talk about the equipment to begin with. We've got Bastion of Duty and Steel Braid Buckler. These are the same card, right, Ryan?
Yep. They're the exact same card, but one is really revered and one looks dark and scary. Basically. I have a cold foil Buckler, but I don't have a cold foil Bastion, so maybe I should sort that out. But yeah, these are the same cards.
Okay.
They temper 2 shields.
Yeah. Doesn't cost anything. No messing about. It is simple as that. You get 3 additional health. It's pretty damn decent. We're bringing in another weapon though, Titan's Fist. We were just talking about the benefits of our new hammer axe, and now we're just pivoting back to hammer, but this one's one-handed. So is that the main reason we're looking to run this, so we can combo it with a shield?
Moment Maker is still in the deck. It's in the sideboard because I think it's really good into slower matchups. However, into faster matchups like aggro decks and stuff, I'm just kind of cosplaying Victor here. I love playing Victor, as you know. So having a hammer and shield, it just feels so good. It just feels so like, this is what makes me think about Guardian. I love playing Guardian, and hammer and shield is one of my favorite ways to play this game. And when you can block for 3 with an offhand, you've got this constant reliable source of damage for your Terror Sunders, and you know, if you have to have an off turn, you can always hammer, and your auras buff your hammer too. So sometimes if your hammer comes in for 9 or 10 or more, you know, you're not upset at swinging that. So
I had a Guardian swing for 12 at me with a Titan's Fist today, and then they double pummeled it. So that was 18 damage I need to worry about, just out of the blue. So bear that in mind. This may seem a little bit unsuspecting, but can do a hell of a lot of damage if you are in a pinch, and you've had to block out pretty hard, but you've got suspense auras that are popping. Hold a blue, swing your Titan's Fist for 4, provided it's 3 cost or greater, and all your suspense auras will trigger on this as well. Cool. Okay, so that's our arena items. Let's talk about the cards we're adding to the deck. I can see we've got a couple of one-offs here, just to be able to complete some play sets and add a second up for the pedestal. But let's start at the very beginning before we dive into those. Comeback Kid. Now going to be adding the red to the deck.
The card that I'm basically swapping for the slot is the Fault Line swap.
Okay.
I thought, swap it out with this red Revered card, because not only does it block 3, it still pitches, still costs 3 as well, and attacks for 7. It's the same rate. However, it can come in for 8 sometimes, and it can also cheer you sometimes.
Yeah.
So conventionally, this card I think is just a bit better.
Just above rate, right? Instead of it just being a standard 3 for 7 block 3, it's actually sometimes a 3 for 8. Not only getting the +1 from being cheered, but cheering you and creating a confidence token, which I don't know how much value we can even put on those tokens as of yet. I think it's too early, but if you at least equate it to 1, you're doing a 3 for 9, which sounds pretty damn good to me.
Yeah, exactly. I think this card is actually pretty strong, and at the armory level, throwing in 2 card 8 or 2 card 9 if we make a confidence token, etc., is really strong. So I think this is an easy add.
Cries of Encore, another 3 for 7 that cheers you. This one in the Majestic slot, only going to be able to be found inside of the set Super Slam, so you will have to open up a couple of boxes of product or buy your singles. But why are we including this one, right?
These Majestics, we're basically going to say they're staples at this point for Pleiades, because if you look at the artwork, they have Pleiades in it. That's just a sure way of knowing. If we know
it's
anything
that
from our
easy.
from our Bolton deck, path upgrade, etc., if the hero's in it, it's probably pretty good. And turns out this card is insane. This and Boulder Drop Red are my favorite cards in this deck, because if you read that on here, again, this is talking about less life than your opponent again, like when we talk about Turning Point, so just bear that in mind. But if you get cheered, you have, when this hits a hero, you can play an Aura of Suspense from your graveyard. Now, this effect is really strong, because that what happens next that popped 3 turns ago and is now sitting in your graveyard, you could just play that for free.
Get it back.
Yeah, it's insane. And if you can staple an aura to this with some confidence token to guarantee the on hit, if you make sure you keep a blue in your hand to go with this on hit, you can just replay like a Boulder Drop, an Edge of the Seats or an Act of Glory to set up for the next, and then tap Pleiades and set up for the next swing. This card is insane, and I really like it.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's an easy 3 of.
Speaking about easy 3-ofs and more Pleiades art, we got in the palm of your hand a 2-cost aura instant here, blocking for 3. You're drawing cards on enter and leave. Does this really need much more explaining? Drawing cards is good, and drawing 2 cards off of 1 card is even better.
So Cries of Encore and in the palm of your hand. These are the 2 cards that make me feel like I'm playing a wizard sometimes. I've been dabbling into playing Acilio, and these 2 cards feel very Acilio-y to me. Like playing auras at instant speed, drawing cards, etc. This card, when I see this in my hand and it's my opponent's turn, I almost always just slam this down, because I just draw a new card. If I draw a good card, well, hey, if I don't, okay, I'll block with another card. Easy peasy. And now you can either choose to tap Pleiades to make it so that on my next turn, I'll draw another card, or you can, add counters to it, etc., etc. It's just really flexible.
Third Spinal Crush coming in here. This is just to complete your playset, right? Don't really need to go too much in detail there. Cranial Crush, another classic card coming out of the depths.
It's a blue block 3, but it has a lot of relevant text for a blue block 3 in Guardian. People like drawing cards. In fact, so does Pleiades. So you could call this a mirror breaker.
I see, okay.
But it's also really strong into many, many decks right now, as they all want to draw cards, including Brutes. This is the Brute Guardian set. Brutes love drawing cards, so this also helps against them. And it being a blue 8 power attack means that when you can pump it with a red aura, it being a blue attack still comes in for a lot of damage and threatening an on-hit. So I think it's just a slam dunk. Add it into your blue base, make your blue base stronger.
Yep. Pairing this up with a tension in the air to be able to swing for 12 damage, 8 plus the 4.
Yep.
Just, really, really nice for a blue. Big fan of that one. More blues, more attacks. Dig in. This one, not swinging for 8, a revered attack, but does have that all too familiar effect of our boots being able to make some toughness tokens if you pitch 3.
Yeah, exactly. You'll see a lot from this tier here that I've kind of opted for just a bit of a rejig. Yes, we've got new cards in and some filling out of playsets, but what I've tend to do with this tier here for the armory tier is just kind of buff our decks like strength in general, our blocking capacity and our token generation. And when I was using the boots regularly, I was like, man, these toughness tokens are insane. I wish I could make more of them.
I had more toughness tokens. Oh wait, I can get more.
And this is another blue block 3, but it has utility, and sometimes 3 extra toughness comes in clutch.
Absolutely.
So yeah, again, just another cool utility blue. I love utility blues.
I'm here for it. What's really interesting you mentioned as well, right? Like this tier is kind of about a rejig, and you might be looking at these cards and the cards we're going to show in a few moments' time and be like, damn, I have no clue what we're going to be taking in and out. But so we don't bore you to death in this video, we do have a full breakdown of each individual tier in the deck list form inside of the description. So check that out down below so you don't miss out on that. Speaking about more cards, blue block 3, Embolden. Here's another one.
So this is just filling out the blue playset some more. However, this card was kind of like unplayable for the longest time. It normally just functioned as a Guardian non-attack, into like Bolton, for example. But this card actually has text now, and as far as blue pumps go, it pumps for free and draws you a card.
Pretty good.
This is pretty good.
We take those.
Yeah, it synergizes as well, because if you look at the cost, it costs 4. That's quite a lot. But if you've got what happens next out, this costs 3, and then you get a card back, and you've set up for a +3 on your next turn. One thing to note is this isn't an Aura of Suspense. It's just a plain old aura from back in the day. But a blue that's just sitting there that's going to give you 3 value on your next turn. I would say it's pretty damn good.
Nice. Tear Asunder, third one of these. Bloody hell, enters the fray. We move on. We'll skip Thunderquake real quick. Just say there's a third up on the pedestal as well. That's coming in. Thunderquake. Another 8 attack here, but this one has heave 3, so more cards where we have kind of that additional blue to be able to use as an outlet, right?
Yeah, exactly. So I must admit, I don't heave this card very often in this deck because you're doing so many things in this deck that are like
resource
on
intensive.
A different axis. Yeah, and they're all resource intensive. You want to play your blues. You don't really want to pitch them a lot because your blue auras are insane. And then on your turn, you want to attack with your reds, so you pitch your blues. So this card doesn't normally get heaved a lot, but in the example that, hey, you've got a blue, this card, and a red aura, you could play the red aura and heave this so that it only costs 3 on your next turn. Your next turn, you could block with 3 cards and then send this for, 12, 13, 14, etc., etc., based off the last turn cycle, which is pretty damn strong for a blue, I would say.
So that's only the in-deck cards, the ones that go directly in, but we do have a number of cards that you would kind of position as sideboard pieces. A couple of pieces of equipment here. I feel like we can kill these off in one fell swoop. Arcane Lantern, Null Rune Boots, and Null Rune Gloves. These are simply because you're going to go up against things that do AB. Whether or not that's a Rune Blade or whether or not that's a Wizard, you're going to want to be able to convert those blues into some level of defensive value. And I suppose that also brings us to Oasis Respite. Is this additional wizard hate effectively, Ryan? Is that the only reason it's here as well?
Not only is it just for the wizards, but
Okay.
it's also really good into evasive damage, like
Right.
dominate, overpower, or confidence, for example. This is a absolute banger for a little one drop, because if you've got what happens next out,
Yep.
you can play this for free.
Oh
And
god, I didn't even think about that. Oh Christ.
It can gain you 1 life, it can prevent 4 damage, and you didn't have to spend the card pitching to it. And in the matchups that this comes in for, it's really strong.
Yeah.
So as a one-off, this is a cool cheeky tech piece, I think.
Okay, yeah, I do like that. I didn't even think about this being reduced to 0. That makes this card even sillier. Nice. Batter to a Pulp, recent addition to the Guardian pool with Mastery Pack Guardian. Why is this one here? I have a feeling I know the answer, but...
Yeah, so this actually is quite a cheap card. I was surprised.
Yeah.
Good to know. So I think in the armory... in your armories, local armories, I would expect that there are probably some Gravy Bones players roaming around, because that deck's really strong and really good. And this is basically one of the few Guardian cards that, can kind of like stifle his game plan.
You can literally kill him on the spot.
Yeah, I mean, this no defense value stipulation is a bit of a head scratcher, but what it means is if there's a card with a pearl on it, exactly like that. So no defense value doesn't mean 0.
Yep.
It means
0 is a valid defense value. It has to be 0. Sorry, no defense value at all, like an Arcane Lantern or a compass.
Yep. So Gravy uses his compass. He hasn't got a weapon. He uses his compass, and it's insanely strong. And this is basically a way of breaking that. If you can land this, your chances of winning that matchup are a lot stronger.
Nice.
This also has niche play into matchups like Prism.
Yeah.
And it's not to be understated that card can actually do a lot of damage in that matchup too.
We'll speed on through these last couple. Crush the Week is another 0 for 7 coming on in. This one meaning that you can't play those cheap piddly little attacks like your ninjas like doing.
So yeah, if you think about the shield and the hammer we brought in for the main board, I would like to kind of buff our aggro defense package a bit. Hence the shield and the sink belows for the D-reacts and stuff. So Crush the Weak is just another card to help us against the aggro decks that are going to be trying to chip us down while we're playing our auras and setting up. It actually does work into Gravy now too. Less so with Tibbles being bad, but it does actually work into Gravy with like Murderous Rabbles, as well, etc, etc. So another cheap playset and another Guardian staple and another Terrace under target.
And another Prison Popper. But not why it's in. You heard me mention Pummel earlier on. Pummel, of course, you're a Guardian. You've got enough blues to be able to make this card work. This card should just say Guardian. This should not say generic. An absolute staple. I don't know if we need to go too much into detail here, Ryan. I think this is the attack reaction of Guardian, right?
Yeah, I think they made her axe a hammer.
It's a hammer axe
for the exact purpose of you could still pummel it.
Right, Sink Below coming in. This is your 0 for 4 defense reaction.
Sometimes your hands can be a bit clunky with I just need a blue here. Like the reason why Guardian plays Sink Below the most is you play because you just sometimes have total dead hands and one blue can bail you out big time, and Sink Below can just unlock that for you sometimes.
Absolutely. Staunch Response, more Guardian defense reactions here. This one costing 2 for 7 block, but of course with additional line of text here as well. Ryan, are you bringing this in because you're expecting like a lot more Guardian presence? We're going really tall on some of these attacks now, right?
Yeah, blocking for 10 can sometimes just actually give you such value in a turn cycle, and into Guardians, into Brute, into Marlin.
Marlin, very true.
There are some decks that do still go really tall, and also with what happens next out, again, I'm going to keep talking about that card. When this costs 1 and you've got 2 floating to play another Staunch or an Oasis or something else, or you can pitch the Rune Chance, and play and block a Felling with this card. There are many ways to utilize this card, and I think Staunch Response actually is so insane, and it's a Guardian card only. No other class can play it, and I think that's for a reason. I think this card is actually like, yeah, go
Essentially too good to be out in the wild with everyone else.
Yeah,
Nice.
when it costs 1, it feels broken.
Yeah.
So
I will pitch a red to block 7. So, oh, cheers. Yeah, thanks for that. Or I will float my tunic.
Tunic, yeah. Yeah. In the upgraded deck, when I float Tunic to play Staunch, I'm like, oh my god,
That is broken. We've got one additional Thespian Charm here as well. It moves to the sideboard. I believe it's going to be moving into the sideboard in the main part of the deck as well.
Yep.
But this is just to fill it outright to get a second one in. Armory tier done. You spent your £50, your hard-earned dollars, to upgrade this deck a little bit further. But now you want to go further than your local armory. Maybe they're hosting a Pro Quest, maybe even a Road to Nationals as we move into 2026. So you want to spend a bit more. You want to get the best deck you can. Welcome to the Pro Quest tier upgrades. £100 is your next budget for these cards. And Ryan, why am I only seeing 4?
Now, this Pro Quest tier, the reason why it is so minuscule in comparison is because Imposing Visage is it's a good card. Obviously, it's been a great card for a long time when I've been playing Bravo.
Yeah.
When I've been playing Victor, not so much. Jarl plays it too, but Jarl isn't so prevalent either. So this card has been fine for a while, but this card shot up in price. In the back of my head, I was like, Imposing Visage is going to be like one of the first things I buy.
Yeah.
But these got to silly price, and unfortunately, they had to come on this next tier here. So the reason, because this card is insane. Basically, any aura in your deck, you can search, obviously, with this card, right? And you can just pay 3, play this card, and get a blue aura, and your what happens next, again, are so important that having 6 of them, basically, with this card is really useful. So I would say it looks like a little amount of card for your money, but when you play with this card in this deck, you realize like the power of being able to search an aura, shuffle your deck too. That's also important. And when you play into the play loop of Cries of Encore, it hits, I go get an aura from my graveyard. Good job, I played an Imposing Visage turn 0 to get what happens next in my graveyard, so that now when I play this Cries of Encore,
you're online effectively.
Yeah, like there are a lot of lines that get completely unlocked with this card.
I mean, I think time of recording, this card is currently sitting at £20 each, right? So you're looking at £60 for 3 cards, which is unfortunately just the nature of Flesh and Blood. It's the nature of card games. Good cards are going to cost you some money, but it's an upfront cost. Maybe you'll win it all back when you win your Pro Quest. But that's not the only card in this tier, right? We do have Iron Fist Revelation, the newest Guardian Legendary, coming in Super Slam as well. And this one's actually, surprisingly enough, a little bit on the cheaper side. Give us a little bit of a rundown of this.
All right, so the Guardian arm slot isn't too contentious. For the longest time, we've been playing Gauntlets of Iron Will, and they have been completely fine. When they were first released in Heavy, they were great because there was a lot of warriors going around. You were getting like 5 value off your arm slot. Nowadays, not so much anymore. If you can line up a Boulder Drop in Arsenal or a Spinal Crush in Arsenal, you can guarantee get 5 value from your arm slot, which is really, really strong. And having every time you play a crush card into an opponent, you'll just think, man, if this had 1 more damage, they would have to block completely differently.
Yeah.
A Sink Below just covers a, crush a week, and that's so annoying. But imagine if it had +1, it would be 1 card plus Sink Below or a piece of armor. You need these tiny little macro, element gameplay loops of a +1 on a crush card to sometimes win you a game. And again, getting 5 value out of your arm slot is pretty damn strong and easy upgrade. Plus, I've seen some of the hit rates in this set. Maybe you just pull one of these and you can save 40 quid.
Yeah, I mean, this card could come down as well, right? Like, we're still sitting with pre-release pricing. People are not actively opening as much of this product as we're going to see in like the next few weeks. So maybe this goes down in price and maybe you can get this a little bit sooner. But as of right now, this sits in the Pro Quest tier. You've got a decent deck, you've got a number of reps, you've played at a local competitive level when it comes down to your Pro Quest, and you think, you know what? Maybe I go abroad. Maybe for us, we're going to Northern Europe. We go to your Amsterdams. You go to your Germanys, your Frances. Hell, we might even stay in the UK if we are lucky to get another calling. And so we bring you to the calling tier. This is where you start spending some of the real cheese. £200 plus, including a little bit extra additions in your sideboard. Now, before we do start talking about this, a big big thing to mention. £200 seems like a lot of money to spend on cardboard, and it is. However, if you are going to be playing Flesh and Blood for a long period of time, and if you're pushing towards callings, you probably are, one thing that you'll notice about every single card inside of this is that they are generic. Your Balance of Justice, your Crown of Providence, your Final Spin Tunic, your Quick Dodge Flexors, and your CNCs are all generic. Every single deck that you play has the option of playing these cards. So very much, as we say this a lot, your Calling Plus tier is your upper echelon of cards. You are probably going to use these in another deck. Or if you have followed one of our upgrade paths in the past and you've already bought these, hey, free upgrade tier effectively. You don't have to buy these ones. Let's have a quick talk about the headpieces though, Ryan, while we're here. Balance of Justice and Crown of Providence.
Now, unfortunately, it is still not Guardian's Day for head slots. I've wanted a Guardian headpiece that is a majestic or let's go for a legendary. I want a legendary Guardian hat. And I've been wanting it for a long time, and we still don't have one. Unfortunately, the best in slot for a Guardian hat is still Cop in my eyes. Crown of Providence is just insane. Again, like I was saying about the arms, 5 values of arm slot. This is almost always 5 block on your head slot, because you can arsenal any card in your deck. Doesn't matter if it's a block card or whatever. You can crown it away, draw another card, and block with that card you just drew.
It means you don't ink yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And so this card is just really strong. You can heave a Thunderquake and then make 3 surges, and then on your opponent's turn, you can say, oh, actually, I don't want to do that anymore. I'll block with my Crown. My Thunderquake will go back in my deck. I'll draw another card, and now I've got 3 surges. So I can play the Spinal Crush off a blue. I love Balance of Justice. Personally, it's one of my favorite pieces in the game. The reason being is I played Victor into KO when that set came out, and I loved that matchup. But I felt it was like impossible to win unless I had this card. Because again, you can get 5 value out of this card. You can block for 2 at any point in the game, whenever you want. And then when they start popping off and drawing multiple cards in a turn, you can say, hold up a sec, let me just quickly pop my balance, draw another card. Okay, you can continue. Now I've got my 5th card in my hand. Now there are also wizards like Auxilio that draw multiple cards a game. Dash.io draws multiple cards. Prism can draw multiple cards.
Absolutely. This card's fantastic into Prism, right? Being able to chuck a single card in front of it, in front of a Herald Edition, and your Balance of Justice about to cover it. And then, oh, by the way, actually in a later turn, I don't have that. Now, Herald Edition is here. I can just pop this because I've already got my value and draw a card while you're drawing cards as well. Really, really cool. I think Balance is great addition for sure. Tunic. What needs to be said about Tunic? Apparently, you can play Staunch Response off this now, which is cool. Thank you, Pleiades. Anything else to really say about Tunic at this point, other than it's the chess piece?
Again, another thing is I would love a new Guardian chess piece.
You are preaching to the choir, brother. Oh, God.
I love me some Guardian equipment, and apart from tech plating, we don't really have a Abyss like chess slot. And as you play this game at this level, at Calling Tier, you'll notice that Tunic is just insane. It could be argued that this card is too good.
Whoa. Let's not go too crazy.
But basically, you've got pummels in your deck. If you notice down below, we're just going to be adding some CNCs. Hey, Tunic Pummel CNC is an absolute bread and butter in the Guardian class. Plus, like I say, being able to play auras from your Tunic. Sometimes your just cost curve doesn't work. You need one more resource. Oh, my chest gives that to me because I waited 3 turns. And there you go.
The lowly cost of 3 turns.
Yeah, exactly. And so, again, this card is just insane. You get 3 counters out of it, and then you block with it. How much value did that chest give you over the course of the game?
It's already paid for itself, right? Like, if you get 2 uses out of this in a game, and you get to block with it, you are singing.
You're laughing away.
Absolutely. Quick Dodge Flexors, a new edition. Well, I'd say a newer edition being released this year in the Hunted. A defense reaction leg piece. You've got a couple of blue 2 blocks in this deck as well, right? So you just get to convert those blue 2 blocks into a blue 6 block.
That's exactly it. Yeah, you hit the nail on the head. Sometimes your 2 blocks aren't cut in the mustard, and if you're against an aggro deck that's hitting you a lot, you can just pitch the 2 block, convert it into a 6 block. But you could also play just, if you're against an assassin, for example, and you've blocked as much as you think you need to, and they pump it over, you could actually pay into quick dodge flexes just to avoid an on hit.
A card that almost needs no introduction. You kind of alluded to one of the most heinous turns that you can do. Pitch a blue, have one floating, play a Command and Conquer, float your Tunic, and then attach a pummel to it. Defense reactions can't replace this. Chain Link, when it hits here, it destroys all cards in this arsenal. This is just good.
People play D-Reacts into Guardians. That is just, how it is. And this is such a good way to punish those people that do. And when you get to land a CNC pummel off a what happens next, like free resource, and not even have Tunic ticked up to 3, it feels so dirty. Because they look at the cards in your hand, and they look at your Tunic, and they're like, oh, well, Tunic's not on 3, so I'm safe. They forgot about what happens next.
My CNC cost 1, by the way, not 2. So here's my 2 additional resources into a pummel.
Exactly.
Really, really cool. So that is it for the decks, the cards we're recommending. But Ryan, you've kind of gone above and beyond here. You have 240 different cards in the maybe board. Do you want to just give? We won't go into detail. We're not going to keep you here against your will. But as I scroll through, do you want to just give a little bit of reasoning as to what these are?
Yeah, one thing real quick is Rampart. Rampart, I think, could actually be the slot in the shield slot right now. I'm still debating that right now. My playtesting.
It's coming down in price with that reprinting gem pack as well.
And you can also every 3 turns you can block for 1 with your Tunic. If that's all it does, hey, that's pretty damn good too. So I'm still unsure about that slot. The rest of these cards here are just unique, or ubiquitous Guardian cards that, hey, I don't want to play Crush the Weak because I don't have any ninjas near me. I want to play Chokeslam because I have a bunch of brutes and rangers or whatever. There you go. Hey, there's loads of Florian and Verdances. I don't want to pay for CNCs. Erase Face are 20 quid each. There you go, you can play that. Humble is the absolute goat of cheap CNC replacement effect. Weakest Link as well. You got Red Thunderquake, you have Sigil of Solace, etc, etc. These are just good Guardian cards that if you need to pad out your deck, you don't want to buy CNCs, you don't want to buy E-Strikes because they're too much money. These are just good cards to put in instead, and can also change your game plan entirely. You could become aura only, like just play a bunch of auras and play like one big like pulverize, or there are also pieces of equipment in there that can be useful. It's just basically pick your favorite, pick your flavor. What type of Pleiades deck do you want to build? There's 240 cards there to pick from. In my opinion, that's it.
Nice, cool, man. Thank you so much for breaking that down. You've done something. You've made me kind of be interested in Guardian, and we can't be having that with my history. But yeah, guys, we hope you found this really interesting and quite helpful. Pleiades is releasing very, very soon. I believe at time of recording, she releases this Friday on the 26th of September. You may already be able to pick it up from your local game store due to the changing in rules of LSS, where if they hosted a pre-release, they can sell you that product early. So get it in your hands, get building, open some Super Slams, support your local LGS, and keep playing some more Fab. But for now, that is it here from us at Cup of TCG. If you do have any questions, please do let us know down in the comments below. I'm sure I can put Ryan to work answering some of those once we drop the content. Make sure you like and subscribe as well. We are very, very close to 1,000 subscribers, and we've got something fun planned for that very, very soon. But for now, guys, thanks for watching. I've been Kyle. This has been Ryan. This has been Cup of TCG. We'll see you soon. Peace.